UiPath has got two design experiences. One is the classic and the other is the modern design experience. As an RPA developer, we should know both the experiences, how to use what. In this playlist, we are covering the classic versus the modern design in a step-by-step manner where we are focusing more on the modern design. In the previous videos of the playlist, we have covered already all of these topics. In case you are absolutely new to modern design and you want to get started, you can refer to the playlist and get started. Whenever we talk about UI automation, there are two things. One is the input methods and the other is the output methods. Input, as the name suggests, how do I provide input to the automation? Output means when I have to extract something, that would be called output methods. Both of them are really important. In the previous videos, we have already seen how you use the input methods in the modern design. In this video, we are going to discuss about the modern activities, or I would say the modern methods in the modern design experiences. In case you are coming to the channel for the first time and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the next videos in this playlist. Having said that, let's get started. Prior to this video in the playlist, we have already seen what exactly is the design experiences, how does classic differentiate from modern, targeting methods, what exactly is use application / browser, what are the properties, screen selection options, and also I am trying to convince you that why exactly UiPath modern design is better. In case you are not aware of any of this, I have posted the link of this complete playlist in the description for your reference. Also, in the last video of the playlist, we have seen how can you run an automation in the background with the help of modern design experiences. Okay, so you will find the link of this complete playlist in the description. Today's video would be the continuation of the same series in which we are going to discuss about the introduction to the output methods. In case you are coming to the channel for the first time and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the latest updates. Talking of the agenda, this would be our agenda for today, where we are going to start with what exactly are the output methods, what are the various output methods which are available, how do you differentiate between full text versus native versus OCR, and we are going to explore the most common output activities, and in between I would also try to give you the differentiation between the classic and the modern design. This would be our complete agenda which we are going to see in this video. Okay, so the first thing first, what exactly are the output methods? As the name suggests, output methods, that means that these would be the methods which would help me to get the data output in a UI automation. Now, whenever I say UI automation, I simply means all the automation whichever I am doing with the help of keyboard and the mouse and the robot is trying to simulate that is called the UI design experiences. Now, in the previous videos, we have seen that what exactly is the input method, that how do you provide input. This video we are going to talk about the output methods. Now, as the name suggests, output, it is used to get the output. So let's say you have a page. Now in that page, if I put my username and the password, that means I am giving some input. So that's a part of input method. But let's say from that same page, if I want to extract some information, let's say I want to get some information, put it into an email, or I want to extract a table, that means that I am getting some information. So that means that becomes an output methods for me. UiPath has two design, classic and the modern. Modern automation also has the same output methods which you had in the classic, but the way it operates is a little bit different. So if I talk about the output methods, modern UI has got three output methods: full text, native text, and OCR, which is the full form of optical character recognition, mostly used for the image based automations. Now each of these output methods has different properties, different characteristics depending on the compatibility. As a UiPath developer, you should be aware of when to use what. Okay, in case you want to understand the same thing in a classic experience, we have a different video. I would provide the link in the description, and you can see that how the same works in the classic design as well. If I talk about the high level differentiation, UiPath mentions that the full text is the default method and is good in most of the cases. When I say most of the cases, be it a web automation, be it a desktop automation, it works in most of the cases. This guy is the fastest. Okay, it can extract the hidden text with 100% accuracy, and it can work in the background, right? This is important, guys. It can work in the background. Remember, in the previous video we were looking at how does we need to do the settings for input methods to work in the background. Same like if you are using some automation for output, you need to use full text if you want it to run in the background, right? The second one is called the native. The native is compatible with all the application that uses the graphical design interface, the Microsoft API used for representing the graphical object. Now, what is the GDI? The GDI is a Microsoft API which is for representing the graphical objects. So any application which is using the GDI, your native output method should work on that. But the difference is that it does not extract the hidden text. So let's say you have some text which is hidden. Native won't be able to give you the hidden text. It cannot work in the background. Okay, it cannot work in the background, and it does not support the virtual environments. Virtual environments means where you take the remote desktop, Citrix kind of connection. Both of them does not work in Citrix. Okay, the third one is called the optical character recognition, OCR. It is a technology of reading the data from images. To put it simple, let's say I have an image and that image has some text. How do I read it? So that's the place I am going to use something which is called OCR, also known as optical character recognition, right? So this was the high level definition, and OCR, since this is image based, it would be the slowest. Okay, it would be the slowest. Okay, and so this is at a very high level of the output methods. Before getting deep dive into each of them, first let's see where exactly all these options are available for me in my UiPath Studio. Okay, so now let me go back to the same project which you have been working, and now let's explore the output methods in Studio. Okay, so I am back into my UiPath Studio. Okay, now my objective is simple. Today we are going to discuss the output methods, and for that I have got two applications with me. The first one is a calculator where I have printed some numbers 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, right? Any number I have printed. And the second website which I have opened is uipath.com, which is the official website of UiPath. Now let's say we want to extract some information. We want to get the output. So we are going to see how we can get the output first from a desktop based application such as a calculator. It can be any application for that matter, right? And then we are going to see how do you do with the help of web. Okay, so I hope the agenda is clear. Now as soon as you come back to your UiPath Studio, in the classic design experiences you were having an option at the top which was called the screen scraping, right? But if you notice here, you are not getting that option of screen scraping. And screen scraping was an option which was there in the classic design that you used to use to see which output method should I use. But in the modern one, I am not getting that option. Now you might be thinking, Mukesh, where is my screen scraping wizard and how do I get it? Is it removed in modern? The answer is no, but it is at a different location. So let me show it to you. So for example, I have to automate this calculator. So the first activity which we are going to use is, I hope now you guys remember, use application/browser, because that is what we start with the modern design. I'll drag and drop it here like this. And now this guy is asking me, tell me which applications you want to automate. I'll click on this button and I'll point it to the application which is the calculator. So it has got the calculator path, everything we have already discussed in the first video, so not spending much time here. Okay, now what is the thing we want to do? I want to extract this text. Basically I want to get this text whatever is mentioned on this application. So I'll go to the activities and I'll search something which is called get text. Now as soon as I search get text, you would notice that inside the UI automation application I have something which is called get the text. Where do I want to get the text? Inside this calculator. So I'll go to the activities and I can simply drag and drop it here. That's it, right? Now where exactly is your text? UiPath is asking me indicate in the app calculator. See how much user friendly this is, right? So I click on this and I point it to the complete bar, right? So if in case you want to read this, whatever you want to read, just point it there, right? So I want to read this whatever we have here, so I'll click on this and you would see this same selection option which we had already discussed in the input methods. Exactly the same is available here as well. Okay, so I'll click on this button which says confirm, and that's it, right? Now it is able to get me the text from the calculator. Now how do I validate whether the text which I have got is correct or not, right? So what I'll simply do is I will use an activity called log message. Okay, and I'll try to print the output in this one, right? So I'll set it to info, and here we are using the latest version of UiPath, guys, so we should be aware of what are the new features, right? I need to pass a variable from here to here, so I can simply use this plus button, use the variable, and I can say that I want to use the get text output element or get text text. That's it. See, automatically the variable is created, right? We have already discussed all of this update in the previous video, so please do watch in case you are not aware of the latest features. Okay, so what I am doing here is I have got the text saved in this variable automatically created by UiPath and then printing this one here. Okay, let's quickly save this. I'll go here and I'll simply say run the file. This is just to validate whether we are able to get the data output or not, right? So this is the one activity which is called get text, which is actually giving you all the things to work with output methods. Green indicates the automation started. If I go to the output, you would notice that whatever I had in the calculator is printed here. So that is working fine for me, right? Now you might have a question, how does this activity know whether I should use a full text, whether I am native, where are the other options, right? All of that is in the properties of this activity. Okay, so if you see here, there are a lot of properties which are available: continue on error, delay before, delay after, display name, and timeout, right? All the common properties which all the UI element has, right? So all of these are applicable to this activity as well, right? We are interested in this one which is called the scraping method. If you click on this drop down, you would see that you have the scraping method which is available here. But now in the classic one, we only had full text, we only had native text. Now here I can see there are 4 activities: default, text, full text, native. What exactly is the difference? We will see with the help of the slide. But first you need to understand you can change the scraping method directly in the activity here. So tomorrow I want to extract this information with the help of native. I can just change here and do it to native. I want to change it to full text. I can again change it to full text. Okay. But a question arises, how do I know whether if I change it to native, would it work fine or not? I'm not sure, right? If I change it to full text, how do I know whether this will run in full text or not? So you can obviously run the automation and then see, but you have a better way here, right? In this same activity, get text, if you click on these 3 lines, you have an option which is called preview extraction. Okay, just click on this button which says preview extraction and you are getting a preview. Okay, so we are using the full text activity. That's why we were discussing that it has an capability to get the hidden text. So in case you are getting hidden text, you can always click on this checkbox and ignore the hidden text, which we are not having in this case. But now let's say my scraping method is not working. For full text, for calculator it is working, but for let's say your automation it does not work. You can simply come to the extraction preview, click on this drop down and change the value here, native, and I say refresh, right? It says that the element was found but the text could not be retrieved. So it's showing me that your native is not working with this thing, right? Let me again do with full text. Full text it is able to extract, sorry. With native it's not working, right? So if I would have changed the native here, I would not have got the output. Okay, so I can go here and let's search with the text attribute. Text attribute is also not working. Default is working for me, right? So this is called the extraction preview, where you can actually go and check whether that thing would work for me or it won't work. Okay, I'll just click on this one which is cancel, and which would make no changes in here. Okay, now to differentiate it from the classic, okay, I'll collapse this. If I have to do the same thing in the classic, I had different activities. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just enable the classic activities here, right, like this. Now in the classic activities, if you have to get the full text, you were having a activity which is called in the classic get full text. Okay, first activity. If I have to go and use something for native, I use get visible text. Okay, if I have to do something for OCR, I can say just get text, and you would notice that in here get full text, get visible text was there, and for OCR I think it was get OCR text. Yeah, get OCR text, right? Now with the modern design, if I just uncheck the classic, so for the classic one we had 3 different activities which was discussed already, right? So not spending much time there. But for the modern, if I just search here text, you would notice that in the UI automation you only have one activity which is called get text, and that takes care of the visible text, native and everything. OCR is still different altogether because it needs to work on the OCR engine, so that is still in the same location. But the full text versus native is now into a single activity which is called get text. That is why you do not have 2 activities, which is get full text or the get visible text as in the classic design, right? So other good reason for using the modern design. Okay, let me know in the comments, do you really find it interesting that we have everything available in the single activity, or you would like to go by classic where you just search, redo everything? For me, I found this feature handy where I can just change everything just a matter of click. Okay, so that is the place where you have this method which is called the scraping method. Okay, now if I further expand the target, right, so here you have a lot of control because this is the modern folder. So this works on selectors, anchors, computer vision, everything is working together for you to find the element. So all of these settings are available, such as selector, native selector, fuzzy selector, computer vision text. All of these settings are available for you here, so you don't have to worry about. Okay, now if you are coming as a developer from the classic experience, you might have noticed that this guy has 2 outputs. One is text and the other one is called the word information, which was in the native design experiences. But since both of them are in the single activity here, both of the output are different here. So in case if you are only interested to get the output, you use this variable. If you are interested to know the word information, you can use this variable, and that will give you the word, all the details. Okay. Now this was about extracting the information from a calculator, and we have seen that single activity works, right? I'll collapse this, and let's say I'll disable this one. Control D is the shortcut, guys, for disabling, right? What happens if I try to do with the help of a browser, right? So this is my browser, and let's say I want to read this text which is mentioned here. Okay. So I'll go to the top, and again we have to use application / browser because that's a different application. Indicate application to automate, and this time I'll point it to the browser. Okay. Now in the browser, now again to get the text, I am going to use an activity which is called get text. Indicate in the edge, and I can just point it to the text whichever I want to extract. So let's say I was interested in this complete thing, so I'll point it to this complete thing, like it is searching, and it is telling me that fuzzy selector is something which is good for you, right? So again, one more benefit, right? You don't have to worry about all of these things, right? Already modern folders take care of all of that. I'll say confirm, and here this is available. I can always use this 3 button here, and I can click on this button, preview extraction. Without running also, I can check whether my automation is working fine or not, and you can see that it is able to get me the text which is available using the scraping method of default. But you might be thinking, Mukesh, we are only talking about full text and this, what is this default? Don't worry, we'll explain. Let's change it to text attribute. And you can see that with the help of text attribute also, this time it is able to give me the selection. Let me go to native, and native is not working here. I can again go to the full text, and full text is working here. So this is for you to play around that which one gives you the correct option. Okay. And I simply can say save and close, and this time I have selected the text attribute which is here. Now all you have to do is just create a variable, and that would be available for you to utilize. Now there might be a scenario where we have to deal with something which is called the OCR. Now what exactly is OCR and why do we need it? Let me quickly cover that as well. Okay. So in my d:\data, I have a capture which is a PNG file. As you can see, this is an image. Okay. Let me just open the image for you guys. So here is the image, which is a code: live your best, act your best, think you are the best each day. And there is a random code which I have taken from internet, but the thing is it is in a form of image. Now let's say if I use the use application / browser activity to get this information, what happens? Okay. So I'll go back to my automation. I will take use application / browser, and I'll say indicate, and I'll simply point it to our image, which is this one. Okay. So it has got this one, which is the photos. It's a PNG image. And now let me try to drag and drop a get text here. And I'm saying indicate. I'll click on one of the line, and you would notice that all of the elements are being identified by something which is called the computer vision, right? The selector is not working, the target is not working because this is an image. However, since we are using the modern design experiences, we have got an option that it is working with the computer vision. And if I simply go and click on confirm, okay, you would notice that the get text is able to get the text. However, in the properties, the scraping method is set to default, but the targeting method is used is the computer vision. Okay, so modern activities take care of all of these things for you, so you don't have to worry about. However, let's say because of some reason you are not supposed to use the computer vision, or you do not have the API key. Okay, we have a dedicated playlist guys on the computer vision, so you can watch that playlist to get insights on the computer vision as well. Okay, so let's say you are working in a company or an environment where you do not have this option to utilize the computer vision. Now how do you use it? So that's why you have something which is called OCR, also known as optical character recognition. So if I go to the activities and if I search here OCR, you would notice that inside the UI automation OCR, these are all the OCR engines, and you have this text which is called get OCR text, find OCR position. So you can use this thing which is called get the OCR text. So get text, if the default native is not working, it always moves to the CV application, but in case you don't have access to CV, you can use this thing which is called get the OCR text, indicate on the screen, and I can point it to this one, and it is able to get me the option. Okay, now whenever you are using an OCR, you need to remember that you need to have a OCR engine which is available. So by default it is using the UiPath screen OCR. You have an option to delete this, and you can add any of your own OCR such as Abby, Amazon, anything, right? Whichever OCR you have, you can just drag and drop it here and it should work. But to run with OCR, you need to have a OCR engine, and this is exactly the same as the classic experience. Okay, I'll go to the activities and let's try to use a log message activity. I'll drag and drop it here. Okay, in the log message activity, I'll say that this is an info level log, and so from here I'll go to the properties. I'll create a variable. I'll say OCR underscore output, and in the message I'll simply print the OCR underscore output. Save this and let's go here and say run the file. Okay, now we are trying to get the information from an image, right, with the help of OCRs. And if you see the speed of the execution, it would be slow because it is working on the character recognition on the image, right? So OCR would be always the slowest method. Automation completed. Let's go back to the output, and you can see that I am getting this thing, live your best, whatever we had in the image, right? But the challenge, this double quote was read as 66, right? So all these things you need to take care of whenever you are working with such OCR technologies. Okay, so this was read as 66, right, though it was a double quotes. Okay, so that was about the output methods being used. We have full text, native, OCR, and then you might have noticed that we are getting some default and the text options, right? Let's quickly explore what are all those options. Okay, so we have seen full text, native, OCR, all of three in working. If I do a detailed comparison, okay, and this slide I have taken from UiPath Academy, so you can also refer the course in the UiPath Academy. You are going to get the same thing. Okay, so we have the output methods, which is full text, which is native, and which is the OCR. So if I talk about the compatibility, the default method works in most of the cases. So what is the default? The default is the full text. Okay, if I talk about the native, as we have discussed, this work for the graphic, Microsoft API, whichever is working on GDI. The third one is the OCR, which is used for virtual environments, reading the text from the images, which we have seen, and it relies on character and the positions. If I talk about the speed, full text would be the fastest. Native would be somewhat slower than the full text, but this is the slowest because it is working on the OCR technologies, right? So speed wise, this is the fastest, which is called the full text, and the good thing is that is the default one. Accuracy, 100% accurate, 100% accurate, but with a caveat that the application should be working on GDI. And here the OCR depend on the OCR engine, right? The accuracy might differ as per the image. If the image is a good resolution, you might get a good response. If the image is not that good resolution, you might get a different response, but you have an option to change the setting, and different OCR engines has different capabilities. Okay. Running in background, which simply means if I lock my computer and run it from an orchestrator, as we have done in the previous videos, it can work in the background. Native and OCR cannot work in the background. Okay. So hidden text, if I have some text which is hidden, such as in a drop down, I can use something which is called full text. Both of them do not have the capability to extract the hidden text. Virtual environment, which is not in my computer but in a remote machine, full text will not work, native will not work. The only thing which will work is the OCR, because it would be treating that as an image. Okay. Text position and formatting does not capture the text position. However, the native can extract the text position and the formatting, including the text color. So if you have an automation where you want to get the text color, you can use the native with all of these things keeping in mind. Okay. So this is same like native, it also captures the text position. If I talk about what are the other features which you need to keep in mind when we are using the full text, this method offers the option to ignore the hidden text and capture only the visible text, right? You might have seen when I was showing the extraction preview, I have that checkbox which was available. Okay. If I talk about the native, since it can extract all the text and it can extract positions and formatting, it will extract all the characters, comma, space and so on, but you have an option where you can ignore the characters. Okay. The last one, which is the OCR method, by default the OCR has two default engines, Google Tesseract, Microsoft Modi, right? But as an RPA developer, you always has an option to introduce your new OCR if the default OCRs are not working for you. Okay. And we have seen that UiPath OCR also was seen, and which was able to extract my text, right? So this is the full comparison between full text, native and OCR, right? I would like you guys to take a pause. You might take a screenshot of this, you might keep note of it somewhere, but this is a very important grid, and when you are giving interview as a junior developer, you might expect some questions from this grid. Also, if you are preparing for the certification exam, you are sure to get questions from this grid. Okay, so please take some moment to understand and digest this complete grid. Okay. The last thing we have is called the get text activity, which was a single activity that does the native as well as the full text. However, I have seen that there are four options. Default, I understand what is full text, I understand what is native, but there are two more options. What exactly was that? That is what I have put in this slide. Okay. So now the default goes through the possible scraping methods. Whenever you say that, okay, I want to get the text, UiPath will use the full text, text attribute, all of that in that order, and whichever method is able to return you the data first. Remember when I was talking about the input methods, the same thing happened. The selector, the fuzzy selector, the anchors, the image automation, computer vision all try to find the element, and as soon as the element is found, they return. The same thing happens in the output. With the help of default, it goes into all the methods and find the one for you which is best. The only reason to change the default method is that if the text which you are getting is not the right one. If the default method works for you, there is no need to change anything at all. Okay. The only time when you need to change the default method is that when the output which you see in the preview wizard or the output which you print is not matching, then you can experiment with the other options. Now, what are the other options? Text attribute, full text and native. Text attribute simply means extract the text attribute, only the text which is available for that element, nothing else. Full text and native we have already explained. So full text has one capability to get the elements from the drop down. Okay, in case you don't understand how do you read the value from the drop down, I have a dedicated video where I am explaining how do you get the values from the drop down, and there we are using the full text. You can watch that video and that will give you complete information that what does it mean when we say that get the value from the drop down or the hidden text. Okay, so that is full text, and then you have something which is called native. Okay, so these are all the options which are available for you while working with the output methods. Before going to the recap, I just want to introduce that I have got my first course which is live on Graphy by an Academy. So those of you who are interested to know more about the Orchestrator in a step-by-step manner, this is the complete agenda of the course, and as of now Graphy is offering some discount on the courses. Okay, so now let's have a quick recap. Okay, so today we have seen that we have something which is called output actions, or I would say output activities, which are used to extract the data from a user interface, generally in the form of text. We have different methods: full text, native, and OCR. All of them has different capabilities and different drawbacks. As an RPA developer, you should know when to use what. Apart from that, we have two more things. One is called the default and the other is called the word information. By default, the modern design experiences do the best thing for you. In case your default is not working, you can change the options. With the modern design, you do not have to work for the get full text or the get editable text. Both of them are in the single activity which is called the get full text. Okay, in the modern design, the scraping window is missing because you have the extraction preview which is embedded inside the activity, right? So you don't have to worry, everything is there for you. You just have to utilize and you just have to know where exactly that is, right? Classic versus modern is a very important topic, and in future more of the project you would see in the classic design, right? So please focus more on the modern design. Okay, so that is all for this video. I would like to wrap this video here. I hope this was insightful. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well. I would appreciate your feedback on the video, and tell me in the comments what would be the next topic or next video you want to see. So with that, I would wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.